Welcome to High Stakes. I'm your host, Tracey Devlyn. On this show, I chat with authors about the moments in their stories that change everything, what's at stake, what it costs, and why we can't look away. From thrillers to romance to sci-fi and beyond. Let's get to it. Joining me today is author Brooke Fast to talk about her debut romantasy, To Cage a Wild Bird. Welcome to the show, Brooke.
Thank you so much for having me, Tracy. I'm excited to be here.
So happy to have you. Before we get into our bookish talk, can I just say how much I love the glimpses that you've given us of your tiny house in Maine on social media? It's so cute. I
Oh, thank
love it.
you. I love this space so much. It's funny because when I first moved in here, everyone in my life was like, "You're gonna hate living in such a small space," but it's actually I love it. It's been over 5 years now, so.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing. Now, did you build it or was it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna give my husband way more credit than I give myself. But I helped design like the major elements of it, and I held up boards and stuff while he nailed them. And
Yeah.
he's a carpenter by trade, so I was just like, "Tell me what to do, and I will help you." But he gets most of the credit there.
That is a handy man to have around the house for sure. Oh, that's great. I'm so happy for you. I know we were chatting a little bit about it before I hit the record button, but yeah, you just experienced a blizzard up there in Maine, so you said it's snowing now, so
Yeah,
you're warm and cuddly inside your home, so
yeah, it's
that's
not a bad
great.
place to be snowed in, and it makes for great writing weather. So can't.
Absolutely. All right, great. Well, besides living in a tiny house in Maine, and what can you tell us about yourself? Just whatever you'd like to share.
Oh yeah, okay. So yeah, tiny house, big part of my personality. But I'm a lifelong reader and writer. I've really been, I would say, I wrote my first novel when I was around 12 years old for like a
Wow.
competition in seventh grade. And I've really been writing stories since then. Always been a fan of dystopian literature because I grew up during the time when Hunger Games, Divergent, The Maze Runner were all coming out. So I always
Yeah.
is really the genre that raised me and made me want to be a writer. So yeah, I'm still a huge reader. When I was writing To Cage a Wild Bird, I was also reviewing books and engaging with the bookish community through Bookstagram and Book Talk. So I love being in all the bookish spaces I can weasel my way into. Yeah, I live here in Maine with my husband and our two dogs, and we love it here, and we love hiking and just honestly hanging out on the couch reading. So,
Oh my gosh. Now, are you in kind of like a wilderness area or are you close to town or how
yeah,
does that work?
I mean, we're in a no, we're in a pretty rural area, but a sweet spot. I can get to town. I mean, in Maine, I always say like an hour is a very short drive for a Mainer.
Yeah.
And like an hour from our biggest city here.
Yeah.
But it's a good spot to be.
That's
And
great.
again, it's just a great writing environment. So,
Yeah. Well, I feel for you. I don't have, well, an hour to the bigger cities here, but 30 to 40 minutes is my typical drive time to civilization too.
yeah.
So I feel you. Which is great. Like you said, it prevents you from, finding excuses to go into town and do things.
Oh
You're like, oh,
yeah. I do
do
like
I
to
really want to travel that far right now? No, not really.
I'm like, okay, you need to get out of the house. So I'll like go write in a coffee shop or something once in a while
Yeah.
just for a change of environment. But yeah.
Yeah, great, great. Well, what can you tell us about To Cage a Wild Bird?
Oh yeah. So just as the general rundown, my go-to pitch is that To Cage a Wild Bird is a dystopian romance, and it follows Raven, who's a bounty hunter, as she attempts to rescue her brother from a prison where wealthy visitors pay to hunt inmates for sport. So I kind of pitch it as the Hunger Games meets Prison Break, but with a really strong romantic plot throughout. And it's the first in a planned four-book series.
Oh, nice. I did notice that it was set up for a second book. I did
Yeah.
notice that, but I was curious. I was hoping you would tell us, if it was, three, four, five books, whatever the case might
Yeah,
be.
I see. I've always seen it pretty solidly as four.
Yeah,
So yeah, excited to get more into the series for sure.
wonderful. Well, why don't you hold up that beautiful hardcover there? It's just gorgeous. Isn't that so pretty? And this, yeah, the end pages.
Oh
They
yeah.
did just such an amazing job.
It has the bonus chapter too, which I always say that's like
Yeah.
arguably one of my favorite parts because I got to get into the love interest head and write a chapter from his perspective, which was difficult, but also
Yeah, very cool. That's nice. That's really, really neat. All right. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Now, the first two sentences in the novel are amazing and just really set the tone for the book. I don't know. I should have asked you this before we hit the record. I don't know if I'm putting you on the spot, but I was curious if you wouldn't mind reading them
oh
and then
yeah.
just letting us know how they evolved. Have those two sentences been there from the very first draft, or did they, did they change as you wrote the book?
Yeah, here. Okay, so I'll read it and then I'll answer
Thank you. Yeah.
that question. So it's chapter one, 127. That was the number of lives I'd traded for a full belly over the years. Today would make 128.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Yeah. Powerful.
that first line or the first lines, but
Yeah.
so those have been there since the very first draft, which is wild, particularly because I write so many drafts and so much about this book has changed. But they initially, so the lines themselves, not a word has changed, but they were not initially the first lines of the book. They were
Okay.
initially the first lines of the second chapter, but I couldn't stop thinking about them as the beginning.
Yes.
So
That happens with the first novel a lot of times. I've heard it many, many times. It happened with me too. It's like the first chapter tends to be like almost like a prologue, and then the actual book starts on chapter two. So that makes perfect sense
I yeah,
that's how
I
that worked
learned
out.
so much editing it, and I was like, I need to start right in the like the right place. So I'm glad that it changed because yeah, some of my favorite lines.
Yeah. So you had mentioned prior that it's a four-book series, and I assume you're either working on book two or you've just finished up book two. And I'm curious about the amount of time it took you to write book one versus book two.
Okay, so I just got my edit letter back for book two.
Okay.
So I'm
Okay.
about to really jump into edits in this next week, which I'm really excited to dive into
Yes.
the world. But book one, I'm a fast drafter for my first drafts. Honestly, the first draft is my least favorite part of the process.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I tend to like this book, the first draft. I want to say it was about 4 weeks, but it was a horrible, horrible first trash draft. Like,
Yeah.
and I edited for close to a year. So that's where I
Okay.
spend the majority of my time. I write a first draft very quickly, and then it turns into a completely different book by the end of
Yeah.
the editing process. Book two was a little bit more difficult for me. I really felt the pressure of being on deadline for the first time, which I know is super common, but hard to know until you're in it, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I struggled. It took me a bit longer. And I did have to push my deadline a little bit, which I never
Hmm.
thought I'd do. I was like, no, I write fast, quick first drafts, it'll be fine. But uh it's different knowing that someone's going to see it in that state. So I can
Hmm.
let it go before I felt,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
That's still, for some folks, that's still really, really fast. Some folks take years to write that first novel, and so for you to do it within a year it's amazing. And
Oh,
even if you did push the deadline out a little bit for book two, it's still a huge accomplishment to get it within closely within that time frame because it's like all of a sudden it's like okay now I can't just work on this when I want. I have to get it done on and I don't know how your contract was, but sometimes you have certain dates that you have to hit along the way, like the proposal and all of these types of things. So anyway, I don't feel bad at all. It's you did it, you got it in and you got your edits, you're cooking.
No, I'm excited. I think it was just interesting how that I didn't expect the pressure to hit in that way, which I know I love reading about other author stories and things like that. So I'd read of it
Yeah,
happening and I feel like I should have known to expect it too, but it's so much different when you're in it. Uh,
absolutely.
but yeah, I think I wrote a couple of manuscripts before To Cage a Wild Bird that didn't go anywhere. So I was just used to writing on my own my own timeline.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well,
Mhm.
I was curious. You did an amazing job building Raven's circle of allies over the course of the novel, right? How much fun did you have pulling her band of rebels together?
Uh, so much fun. I'm a huge admirer of heist stories, and that's really I think they have some of the best characterization of any stories out there just because you need all these people and they bring such different elements to the team. So that's really what I was pulling from when I was putting them together, and it was probably the most fun aspect of writing the story. I love a found family.
Yeah.
And I loved getting to know all of them. I think that's why it took so many drafts, to be honest. I think each draft I was focusing on a different character's voice,
Mm.
their quirks, and yeah, it was so much fun.
Oh, good, 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 good. Well, on this show, we like to talk about the story stakes. I always joke, love, death, the fate of the realm. They're all high stakes in a story. But what I'd like for us to, well, I guess what I'd like to hear a little bit more about is what was personally at stake for your main character, Raven, if she didn't succeed.
Oh yeah. I
And
mean, of course, I think, oh sorry, did I let you finish
nope, you're good. Yeah, go ahead.
I think, of course, her relationship with Jed, his life was at stake, and he is everything to her. She has built her whole adult life around protecting him and taking
And
care of
he's her brother, right? Jed is her brother.
him.
Yes.
Sorry, yes.
Yeah.
So Jed is arrested at the beginning of the story. Not a spoiler. It's right on the jacket
Yeah.
cover blurb here, and she goes after him to help break him out of this prison where inmates are being hunted for sport. And because she's his sole caretaker, there she's become a bounty hunter to take care of him, which
Mhm.
raises the stakes even more because once she gets sandlocked, there's people in there, inmates in there that she helped arrest. So she has enemies with all the inmates around her. She has enemies from the staff of the prison, enemies all around. So very high stakes. But for her as well, personally, she has just built up this idea that she is responsible for everything that happens to her and Jed, and she alone is the person who has to take care of it. So not only is she experiencing these outward stakes of multiple enemies and the visitors coming to hunt them while they're in this prison, but she's also forced to reevaluate everything she thought was right about her sort of protector status over Jed.
Yeah, and because of I'm trying to be careful of spoilers, but because of something that she did, or before the book starts, it's almost like she's trying to make amends the whole book, right, to Jed, and so that affects a lot of her decisions, and her becoming a bounty hunter. When you hear that, it's like, okay, bounty hunter, yes, so what? But in her world, it's not a good thing to be a bounty hunter. It's seen as a sign of betrayal, wouldn't you say?
Oh, yeah. So she carries a lot of guilt because in this world, all crimes, no matter how small, are punishable but by a sentence at this prison. So while Raven tries to target more high profile criminals, she's seen as a traitor because she's contributing to the system of oppression by locking people up in this horrific environment. And she kind of rationalizes that she has to do that to provide for her brother, but it makes her morally gray, right? Because she's
Right.
contributing, but she's also suffering beneath the system and feels like she doesn't have another choice. So she carries a lot of guilt for that. But if you asked her she'd do it again,
Hmm.
put in the same situation. So it's an interesting dynamic, and she really wrestles with it throughout the story. And it's something that her and Jed, her brother, have to, they're kind of wrestling with it together to get closer in their relationship throughout the story.
Yeah, because he's, I'm trying to remember, 17, 18 years old. So he's on the verge of, manhood, as they
Yeah.
say. So he's kind of wrestling with that, and she still sees him as her little brother. And so there's
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
She
yeah,
has a
you're
hard
right.
time accepting help from him or accepting that, he's 18 in the story and accepting that he is becoming someone who's capable of taking care of himself and helping take care of her too.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, can we talk about Raven's love interest, or is that a spoiler?
I don't think it's a spoiler. I've shared it pretty widely on
Okay.
socials and things like that.
Okay. All right. I wasn't sure because it wasn't on the jacket cover, and and you keep us guessing for a little while in the
No,
story as
I
well.
think it's so fun.
Uh, but I love their meet cute. It was so hot. I such a great meet cute. And I
Oh,
love his nickname for her. It's just
oh yeah.
great.
I love a good nickname in a romance, and I
Yeah.
think the meet cute was important to me because knowing Raven, I think it needed to be established beforehand for her to ever consider it. Um,
Yeah.
so that was really fun to write, though. That was one of my favorite scenes between them.
Yeah, yeah. Your nickname reminded me of one of my all-time favorite books. It's an older book, but it's by Lisa Kleypas, and yeah, Dreaming of You, Derek Craven, and he called the heroine Little Mouse, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I love this so much.
I haven't read that one yet, but I'm just getting into Lisa Clay. So I've been getting into historical romance more. So now
Yeah.
I'm getting more excited.
She's great. I love her so much. And that for whatever reason, that book has stayed with me. I we're talking a couple of decades now.
Oh,
So
what
it's
was the
just
title of this one? I need to write it down. One second.
it's called Dreaming of You. And
Dreaming.
it's the one that has Derek Craven and Sarah Fielding in the as the hero and heroine. This is wonderful. And I think maybe because it had an edginess, especially Derek Craven. There was an edginess to his character that you didn't really find at the time
Okay.
of when that book came out. So it felt really different as a reader when I read it. It's probably not that case. I haven't read it in a while, but it's probably not the case anymore
I
because
mean,
everything's very edgy now.
there's something about the tension in historical romance, though, that is always so skillfully done. I don't know. I think it more romantasy readers would really love historical romance, just because
I
the tension is so good.
Yeah, it's wonderful, and there's historical romances that are more like Bridgerton, where you're in high society and everything's beautiful and maybe a little bit lighter, and then you have some that are a little bit more edgy and kind of get into the back alleys and things like that. So it just depends on what you're in the mood for. Everything is out there nowadays. You used to have to look for it a little harder, but I don't think so anymore. So it's great.
Oh, good. Well, I'm gonna read that book. I need to.
I I hope you love it as much as I do. Uh, uh, hesitate to make recommendations on books and things like that. But I don't know, that one still remains one of my favorites. So I hope you enjoy it a lot.
I, I'm sure.
Well, as a debut author, you experience a lot of a lot of firsts. Let me
Yeah.
get that out right. A lot of firsts. So your first offer, your first edit, your first book cover, and I know I always like it. I ask this at all the debuts that I have on here. I know this is not a fair question to ask, but what is your favorite first so far?
Oh my gosh. That is so hard. I think I want to say one with my agent and one with the book specifically.
Yeah.
And I
Okay.
think getting the call from my agent that there was a deal on the table. I remember I hung up and I screamed, and I was just myself too. It was just it was truly, it was
Yeah.
one of those like movie moments of joy. Like, I don't know, it just crazy, crazy.
Great.
And then for the book, I it's so hard to even choose because there are things like the cover, which seeing
Yeah.
that for the first time, true tears. Um, and then the book's already out in the UK and several European countries, and I got to do my first event over there in November, and that was one of the coolest things that's ever happened.
Nice.
Um,
Yeah.
because I'm such an introvert, but in an event like that, being surrounded by people who love books, it is such a different dynamic that I didn't feel like an introvert. So that's
Yeah.
really fun.
Yeah.
But sorry, that was three. But
No, I told you it's hard. It's hard to pick one, isn't
it's
it? Yeah,
hard.
it's like you're among your people whenever you're in an
Yeah,
event at an event like that. It's just like every single person there gets you. You don't
it's,
have to explain anything.
it's just so fun, not draining in the way I can find a lot of like social big
Yeah.
circumstances. Like it was just amazing. So yeah.
Great. Oh, I'm glad you had a good experience. And yeah, all those are wonderful firsts. Well, just to change gears just a little bit here, what's one thing readers might be surprised to learn about you?
Ooh, about me.
Hmm.
So we already have the tiny house.
Yeah, I stole that one. Sorry.
Ooh, that's interesting. We're gonna have to edit out this long silence.
That's quite all right.
I don't know. I was gonna say that I live in truly the middle of nowhere, but I feel like my tiny house gives that away. Um, hmm. I think maybe that I am such a fast drafter on the first draft. That is something that I'm just starting to talk about, and it's not a healthy habit, but the way that I have to write is that I sit down and work 12, 16-hour days and really don't do anything else until I finish my first drafts. Um, so I think maybe I always looked at authors as these super organized, structured people. And maybe a peek behind my curtain specifically is that I'm not an organized, structured person at all. I'm like pure chaos when I'm in these moments. And I always thought I would have like this amazing routine, and it's not that romantic.
It rarely ever is. It's never like we, perceive it, especially, in Hollywood and things like that. But it's interesting because it sounds like you fully, you're fully absorbed into the story until you finish it. So I can see that. It's almost like method acting in a sense. It's almost like you're a method writer in a sense there.
Oh my gosh, I always will look at my husband and I'll be like, it's starting. Give it a couple of weeks.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. All right. Well, before we go, can you share what's coming up next? You mentioned that you're getting ready to start edits on book number two. Are you planning out book number three or whatever you want to talk about?
So I just got my edits back for book two. I like to absorb them for a bit, and then I still need to meet with my editor and chat about them, but it takes me a little bit to soak everything in and form
Yeah.
thoughts. And so in the middle of that, I'm outlining book three and four more heavily, because I want to before I really dive into book two, so you have that space to really thread some Easter eggs in. Um, and then yeah, I'm trying to work on another story at the same time because I think it's good for me during those gaps to have a different creative space or creative outlet, I should say. Um, I don't know. I think with that pressure from book two, where I struggled with drafting the first draft,
Hmm.
uh, just having something else that I can work on when I'm stressed out is has been kind of nice.
Oh, good. No, yeah, you're still figuring out your process and everything. And,
Yeah.
I'm several books in and I'm still figuring out. It seems like it changes every two or three books. So
I see across the board, everyone's like, yeah, you're always going to have those moments where you're unsure.
yeah. Yeah, great. Well, folks, be sure to order your copy of To Cage a Wild Bird today. It has a delicious twist at the end. I won't give away any more than that. You can learn more about Brooke by visiting her website at authorbrookwfast.com. You'll find all of her social media links there, and be sure to sign up for her newsletter while you're there. Brooke, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have an amazing launch for your debut and have many, many more memories that you can stock away. That'd be great.
Thank you so much for having me. This was great, and I'm super excited, and I'm excited to read Lisa Kleypas.
Yes, good, good, good. All right, wonderful. That's it for today's high stakes story. Follow the show so the next episode lands right in your feed. And if you enjoyed today's chat, a quick rating or review helps new listeners find us. Visit traceydevlyn.com/podcast for show notes and links to today's amazing guest and their fabulous book. High Stakes is a proud member of the Authors on the Air Global Radio Network. Thanks for listening. Until next time, enjoy the adventure, everyone.